Welcome to the channel. We're going to talk initiation, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. Let's go. So these are the different topics that we are going to look at. Firstly, the variety of initiations, because I think there's a very certain picture of what people think of when they think of initiation, but there's actually a lot more to it. Then passive initiation, traditional initiation, and within that we're going to talk a little bit longer about what the different roles want to do when they initiate, and the spectrum of initiation. Let's get started. So there is no initiation without vision. And this just makes sense because initiation means to get a fight started. And usually it means that you need to get on top of an enemy hero. And this only happens if you can actually see them. And this is why heroes like these that are not as conventional and people don't think of them as initiators necessarily can be great initiators because they can give you vision. Naga with her illusions, Zeus with his ult technically, and Night Stalker during the night and with his ultimate as well. The reason why Slark as a hero on the support position worked was that he provided vision. He can deward and get dewards and has good night vision as well. Same goes with Bounty Hunter. These heroes don't necessarily need to be the first one to hit or to initiate or to be in the fight, but they can open up a play because they provide vision that would not have been able to be opened up other ways. So I just want you to keep in mind that initiation doesn't always have to be jumping on a hero and then killing them or like keeping them in a stun lock. Initiation can also mean to see an opportunity and give the ability to your team to actually connect to something that you can see because you provide vision. This works different with all of these heroes, and it's only a side note. But I wanted to start with that just to break the old picture of initiation. I'm going to go further with that and talk about passive initiation as well. Because again, the usual picture of initiation is to get a blink and stun. But there's also something such as a passive initiation. And heroes like these, Necro, Tide, and Underlord, are very good at those. And the way that works is that you walk at the enemy and you basically dominate the space and the enemy has to react to you. So the initiation doesn't work by the means of you jumping the enemy, but it actually works that the enemy is jumping you. And then you survive nevertheless. And now the enemy is has used spells and they are on top of you and they are fighting you. And then the team can connect to this. So all of these heroes build very good auras. They either have heals or slows or ways to get out of a chase scenario. So if they get caught, sometimes it's a reverse card and actually enemies getting caught. So passive initiation by simply walking at a tower, walking at an enemy, and they have to respond to you. Okay, but these were side notes. I do want to mostly talk about the traditional initiation with the blink stun combos and the catch that we usually talk about. But firstly, we need to differentiate between different roles and what they want to achieve with their initiation. So if we maintain that initiation means to get a fight started, all of the heroes that we see are technically able to do that. So Mars and Slaughter, obviously. Also, there is Sven and Ursa, who also buy a blink and then want to jump in. And Lion, obviously, with blink stun, and Warlock could drop his golems. The difference is what they want to achieve with the initiation. So we're going to start on the right side, thinking about the supports. And they usually have two different roles. One role is to actually provide catch and be the first contact, and this would be the Lion, who blinks in and stuns and has then the ability to follow up with a hex or the other way around, like he hexes and then stuns, and then dump his ultimate on them and just do a lot of damage. If Lion dies after this combo, that's very often just fine. For Warlock, it's a little bit different. He needs to get off his ultimate, and if he doesn't do so, then he's basically useless in a team fight. But he doesn't want to drop his ultimate on a single hero. Usually, obviously, there are exceptions. But in general, he wants to be able to fatal bond a couple of heroes and then drop his ultimate on them. And this usually doesn't just happen randomly. This is something that happens when a fight has already started and people are clumping around a hero trying to kill them, stuff like this. So he does not want to be the first one to initiate, and he needs to stay back and hold his ultimate. So those are basically the two support scenarios where you either want to get in there, use everything, and if you then die, it's fine. And the other one where you need to be more patient and wait for a good scenario and then use everything. And if like Warlock dies after the ultimate, that's fine as well. This is the main difference to the core roles here on the left side. All of these heroes, when they jump in, if they die afterwards, after they use their stuff, that's like a horrible scenario. It is very clear with the carries, because the carries deal all the damage. If they jump in and kill one hero and then die, they did not do their job well enough. They didn't do enough damage to the enemies. If they jump in, they either want to burst the hero and then be able to get out afterwards, or they want to kill the entire team. This is basically the idea. And then there are the offlaners who, if they do die, it happens, but it shouldn't ideally. And they also mostly do not have the role to actually kill somebody. Their role is more to be the first point of contact, so that the enemy has to contend with the offlaner instead of the damage dealer on the carry. And their position and their role is often to keep the enemy in place. This is especially true for Mars with the arena, especially pre-BKB. If you arena a couple of heroes, they just cannot leave the area for a while. And Slaughter is a bit different because he does not have the lockdown for a long time, but he does have the stun and slow into bash and can chase heroes down and stay on top of them if he wants to. So these heroes, they are gap closers that hold an enemy so that they can be killed. These heroes are heroes that can close the gap and then actually kill the enemy. And these heroes just want to either set up and start early because they can sacrifice themselves, or respond to a very good scenario. Now there's a lot more to this than this, and like there's no way that I'm going to be able to like say everything important about initiation in this video. But I just want to make you aware that initiation is not closed down to one specific role. And it doesn't always have to be your offlaner who needs to initiate, even though that's like traditionally the way that it's done. Okay, so while we talked about safe laners and supports, we're mainly going to focus on offlaners in like this last section of the video. And I think this is a scale that like it can be true for supports, but mostly I'm thinking about offlaners. And this is important to understand, because for many players, I feel like initiation means to have like a single moment that starts a team fight, where the team fight then is finished in like one swift and smooth motion. But the reality is much more complex. So we have this scale from soft commitment to hard commitment. And there are some spells that are designed to be a hard commit, and others that can be designed or are designed so that you can soft commit with them. And you can see them here on the presentation. And I mean, it's going to make sense just by looking at the cooldowns. I didn't write the cooldowns down, but Black Hole has a very big cooldown. This chain has like a cooldown of like, 2 seconds. I mean, it's also not a stun. but it's something that is very low cooldown, and if you initiate with it, it doesn't mean that you cannot get out of the fight afterwards. And then there's something in between where Hoof Stomp has, I think, something like a 13-second cooldown, which isn't insanely high, but it is also something that needs to be done at the right time and cannot just be done randomly. So this is not only about soft committing or hard committing, because obviously you can use the chain link to hard commit if your team is like with you and then you just go all in, all in. But there is also like the more hard committal a ability is, the more info based it is. And on the other side of the spectrum, there is also the scouting initiation. So let me quickly talk about what I think soft commitment and hard commitment means. Soft commitment means to jump in and then either leave immediately or jump in a way where you feel like safe enough to get back out. And this, for example, with a black hole or with a duel is barely possible. Because if you jump in there, these are channeling abilities, these are high cooldown. So if you're in, you're in. And hard commitment means we are at a point at the fight where we now want to essentially finish the fight within the next like 10-15 seconds. And these soft commitments can mean I'm going to commit and then I leave and then maybe there's no fight happening at all. This is why this is also a scouting initiation. The reason this works with Timber and Slaughter is because this is so low cooldown, he can get out of a lot of scenarios. And Slaughter can sprint back out of like dicey scenarios with his Q, with his sprint. And these are abilities that enable you to just get into a situation and then see what's going on. Like, are they responding with BKBs? Can we actually see all of them? Maybe I jump a hero and I just need to check if he is a bait. And then I can get back out. But you don't want to do this with the black hole or the duel. Because as I already said, if you're in, you're in. So you need to use it when you know that it's going to be successful. This is why stuff like a black hole is often a second initiation and actually not the first. Initiation doesn't always mean that you are the first point of contact. Let's say we have the lion on our team with the Enigma and the lion is jumping in first. He's going to stun somebody. And then they all respond to the lion and I see 3 heroes grouped. That's when I go. It's not before that. So there are very little scenarios where I go first as an Enigma. With the Legion Commander, it really depends on the scenario. If you just get a solo pick off, you obviously want to be the first one to jump. But if it's a full fleshed out team fight, you probably don't. The main thing I want you to take away from this slide is that initiation doesn't always have to mean that you actually start a fight. Initiation can be scouting so that no fight is actually going to happen because you just get back out. And that you learn when to actually hard commit and are aware that there are spells that if you commit them, there is no going back. Now there's one final point that is pretty simple and that's why there's nothing on the slide, I'm just going to tell you. And it is that you need to do team-friendly initiations. This is something I had to learn. I'm still learning, I guess. And the reason for that is that, especially when I played Slaughter, there are many situations where I'm just way quicker than my team. And like, you already know this, I'm just saying it again. If you jump too early and your team cannot follow you, and you die or they die, I don't know, that's basically on you. And the other thing is, even if a initiation is successful, as in you don't die, and your team doesn't die, there's still a problem that can be had if you jump in a way that doesn't enable to have your carry like follow up. And this simply means two things. The first thing is, if your team isn't going in already and you are actually the first hero to jump, you need to do it so that your team can follow up, meaning that Going to the backlines can be sometimes a little bit difficult if your team cannot follow into you. So jump somewhere where you know that like your invoker can throw his tornado, or clockwork can like follow up with his hookshot. This depends on the team, and it's difficult to like talk about it in an abstract way. But this is the first idea. And the second one is, if your team is already going in and you are like being as a whole team aggressive, then just jump next to your carry. Unless you are a hero that can actually like kill a support, and like especially Slaughterer can do that sometimes, Night Stalker can do that sometimes, there are heroes like that. But the rule of thumb is that I don't want to jump away from like my Juggernaut. I don't want to jump away from my Ursa Sven. I want to jump basically where they are already and where they want to go. So initiating team friendly will make you feel like you have an incredible high impact, and it will make your team feel like they have incredible high impact, even though it's actually just you getting a good initiation that allows them to follow up. Period. All right. So this is a very vast topic, and I'm pretty sure I didn't cover all of it. And I'm even more sure that it's maybe difficult to have good takeaways from this, but I think I want to just quickly summarize what I've been talking about. So firstly, there's a big variety of initiations. Not all initiation has to be a blink stun. And initiation always is centered around vision. So you need to see something first. Little message for my support players to get some deep wards so that we can jump. This means that your vision providing heroes are often somebody who you can orientate yourself to play around as an initiator. And if you are a slow hero without a blink, like a Tidehunter or a Underlord, you can still initiate by just being a nuisance, walking into the enemy and make them jump on you. This is like reverse initiation. And finally, in the traditional initiation, you need to think about what my hero wants to do, what my row wants to do. And then if I actually want to initiate in a way that makes us start and end the team fight from full to zero, or if I just want to be scouting, because that is possible. Like this in and out mentality is something that I sometimes find lacking. And yeah, finally, didn't write this down here, but make some team friendly initiations and make sure that your team is actually with you. Don't just jump because it's a good jump. If your team isn't there, it's not a good jump. All right, some final advertisement. Please like and follow. I do offer coaching. If you are interested, then reach out to me on Discord, and we're going to talk about when and where and how and why and blah, 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 all this stuff. I have a Discord in general that you can join. I sometimes stream on Twitch. I never stream on Twitch. If I stream on YouTube. Right now, it is the fact that I do have a life beside this YouTube thing. Yeah, been a while. And I hope I can like get back to doing some content. I come back to actually playing. I haven't been playing for a while, or at least very little. And yeah, thank you for sticking around. If you just found me, welcome. I've been talking way too long at this point, and the video actually has already ended like probably 1.5 minutes ago. So if you are still here, you are one of the actual real ones. I'm going to offer you a billion coaching sessions for free. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to camera for a while, so it kind of feels weird to how do you stop? How do you actually stop?